Hello. Today we are talking about MCP versus RAG, all right? How are these two things different, and should you choose one over the other? Now, I can already hear some of you typing away in the comment section saying, Anna, you're comparing apples to oranges. I hear you. But I still think that this is an important thing to discuss because both of these things allow you to fetch data from somewhere else and supplement your prompt with it. But you're right, they are quite different, so let's talk about it. Very briefly, all right, I'm gonna keep this short. Let's start with RAG, which is Retrieval Augmented Generation. So let's say that you have a bunch of documentation that would help users whenever they have a support question. So using RAG, you could set up a flow where when the user types in their question, it goes and fetches any relevant data from your documentation and augments the user's prompt with that. The way this works is you would have your documents broken up into small chunks and then store it in a vector database. And this is a special kind of database that makes it really easy to do semantic search. It kind of connects the meanings of things, all right? The primary benefit of RAG is this ability to do very quick semantic search on information that the LLM has not been trained on. Now, what about MCP? This is Model Context Protocol. And the famous line these days is that it's the USB for AI. This is not a technique, but rather a protocol that allows you to connect something like Claude Desktop, basically any LLM client, with any external data, all right? Unlike RAG, which is limited to text information, MCP is a protocol that allows you to connect to databases, CLIs, APIs, file systems, you name it. MCP uses a client-server model. So your MCP client might be something like Claude Desktop, and then an MCP server could be either a process that you're running locally or a server living somewhere else. The thing to remember is that MCP does not dictate how you get that data, all right? It is the thing that standardizes how to connect that data to an LLM. I want to point out three key differences between these two ways of fetching external data from somewhere else and supplementing the prompt. The first difference is all about what these things are capable of. RAG is entirely focused on retrieving data, and specifically retrieving text data, and that's it. You compare that to MCP, these servers can both retrieve data and take actions. The second notable difference I want to point out is about when these tools are activated, like when are they actually used. Typically in any RAG application, you search the vector database every time a prompt is sent in. So somebody asks a support question, you query the vector database for any relevant information every single time. Now, MCP, on the other hand, is an on-demand service. So when you type in a prompt, the MCP client is going to be the one to judge, do I need to talk to the database for this? Do I need to search through some files? What tools do I have available to me, and which one do I need to use when? Okay, this is what makes MCP servers so useful for agentic workflows. In that sense, it can be a lot more intelligent about when to use these tools. The third big difference is all about complexity. So with RAG, there's quite a few steps involved in setting this whole thing up, right? You gotta break up your data into chunks, you gotta store that in a database, you gotta build the app that then fetches information from the vector database. Like, it's a whole flow that you have to build yourself. You compare that to MCP, most of the time, all you got to do is configure your server, which is like just editing a JSON file and then like changing a URL or a parameter here or there. But it's dramatically simpler to set up. Now, based on what I've told you so far, you might be thinking that RAG is the loser in this situation because it's more complex to set up and a lot more limited. But y'all, these things are not mutually exclusive. So you've got some documents that you want to be able to search, a whole bunch of documentation. Let's stick with the support docs example. In one scenario, you could build a RAG flow. So you break up those documents, store them in a vector database, and do your thing, right? If you didn't want to do that, you could use an MCP server that searches through your file system, right? So there's a very popular one. There's like an NPM package basically that you can use as an MCP server. Basically just specify the directories that you want it to be able to search, and then it searches, right? Here's the thing. That file system MCP server, very easy to set up, but it doesn't do semantic search. It's doing pattern matching, stuff like that. And that's just sort of the nature of that particular server. I'm not shitting on it, but the point is, the way that RAG actually fetches data is really important, specifically the use of embeddings and vector databases. What I think we're gonna start seeing, and y'all let me know what you think, is I think we're gonna start seeing RAG MCP servers. I don't know when you're watching this, so let me know in the future if things have changed in this direction. I'd really like to know. But that's what I anticipate, because I don't think that you can just toss out the idea of using vector databases, all right? These are incredibly powerful tools that help a lot with semantic search. If there's one thing I want you to take away from this video, it's that these are not competing technologies. They are not mutually exclusive at all. And I really do think that in the future, we're gonna see them combined in really clever ways. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video from my, my new office, which used to be my bedroom, but now is not. My office, which I've only painted 90% of because I got lazy. Anyways, if you'd like to learn more about either of these two concepts, I have an MCP video on my work YouTube channel. That's over on fly.io. That's where I work. And then I have a video on RAG on this channel, which no one pays me for. Anyways, with that being said, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye.